Hey, I just wanted to talk about some advice. Advice. I want to talk about advice. I want to give y'all advice about taking advice. When it comes to advice though, I kind of look at it as like prescription glasses, right? You ever tried to put somebody's prescription glasses on and like look through their glasses like that shit be that should be terrible because 9 times out of 10, their prescription is not your prescription. Um, their vision is not your vision. Their views are not your views. So when we are taking advice, we want to keep that in mind that uh, not what everything everyone advises always necessarily right or is gonna always float your boat or work for you just because something worked for them. That's why I feel like, the best place to get advice from is source. Um, at any rate, you feel me? No matter what, the best place to get advice is source. Now that's not to say don't take things into consideration, but we have to understand that when we are asking people for their advice, they're looking at the situation from the lens that they've learned to perceive things through. They're looking at the situation based on their past experiences, based on their past traumas, based on the experience that they've had. Whatever type of advice you're asking for in regards to, they're taking that similar type of experience and all the things that they've been through in those type of experiences and how it's altered their mentality, and then they're giving you their experience essentially and what they would do. um so I will say this: if you are a type of person that just absolutely have to have uh external advice, if you were not completely internally set within self just yet, because it is a process, then I would say find three of the most leveled people in your life and pick them to be your source for advice, and compare all three um, pieces of advice together, and then take what mutually resonates in all three first and what just resonate, for the situation itself. um what I feel like that achieves is less of a dominant um bias to the advice that's given. No, and it's three, so it's a tiebreaker type of thing. um yeah, because I mean, at the end of the day, you don't want to base your life or the way that you move off of someone else's experience that you've never experienced before. That's just kind of undermining your experience or what you're supposed to get out of the situation at hand. Because you're now looking at it from someone else's point of view, which is totally different also, which is why I'm very careful with telling people what to do, versus trying to analyze a situation for a person to see kind of a holistic perspective, and then it comes out what should be done within that conversation. I don't like to put beliefs on people. I don't like to give people too much specific detailed advice on what to do, because I too give advice based off my specific experiences, because guess what, I can't give you advice based off of someone else's experiences that I've never experienced. Okay. um what I do try to do though is just give kind of like a holistic and try to see other different views meditate on it, and then provide you with the advice that I feel like would help the situation. If I am asked for advice, I'd be careful with giving people advice too, man, because these days, it's just like people don't really be wanting advice per se. A lot of times these days, a lot of times people want affirmation, and people want to be reassured on what they already feel. Um, a lot of times though, that's not what it is. It's the reason why 9 times out of 10 you coming for advice is because there's some type of imbalance. You're aware of it. You may want it to be one thing, but it's actually another. So if you're asking me, then we're gonna address the other and try to get down to the core of it. But I'm never going to be like, you need to do it this way, you need to do it that way. I will say, well, maybe, have you thought about this? Or maybe if you like, or what's the bigger picture? Let's try to see what the bigger picture here is, and then maybe you can detail your action plan for self. Instead of me detailing an action plan for you, because I feel like a lot of people want to know what to do, versus how to get to an understanding of what to do from self. Okay, so a lot of times when a person asks for advice, it's advice of how to go within in order to get the information for yourself, because you don't want to be led blindly, for one, or take any detours because somebody gave you bias advice, or advice that just simply wasn't good or useful. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, when we are taking advice, we definitely want to tread lightly and be careful. Again, I encourage all of us to first go to source for advice, and verbalize it, and really detail, be descriptive, of what it is that you're needing. Now, I will say that I've come to realize in different strokes for different folks that when I do verbalize things, that is the most powerful way for me to bring things into manifestation, into fruition. And so maybe it will work for you. Maybe you have another way that you are able to connect with your higher self. Whatever way you feel like that is, whatever natural calling that you have, maybe tap into that, whatever. But definitely, consult with source first, and then those external forces that will probably even affirm those thoughts that you have in the back of your head that are being given to you by source, but you probably just not at a point to where you're able to fully assert those ideologies and bring them to the forefront and let them flourish. Okay, so that's what I have for y'all and y'all's advice. All right, love and light.